Hey folks, David Stewart here. Hope you guys are having a good day. I know I'm having a pretty good day. As I get my audio dialed in here a little bit. Saturday, we're gonna play some more Final Fantasy VI. The Pixel remaster, I think, is coming out next month at some point. I haven't played it. I don't have like early access to it or anything. I'm playing the Super Nintendo version, which I really like. So that's the version that I think everybody can play if they want to play it. But maybe we'll cover the Pixel remaster, when it comes out. Let's see. Today I want to just talk a little bit about some story stuff before we get going on the gaming. So I want to talk about comic relief and the importance of comic relief, and really like what is comic relief, and should you have comic relief in a story? Do you need comic relief in a story? So comic relief is basically jokes or silly or funny things that occur in what would be considered an otherwise serious story. So if you're watching a Jim Carrey movie, like Ace Ventura or something, that's not comic relief. Rather, that's just comedy. That's just straight comedy. It's not really comic relief at all. So keep that in mind when you are thinking about inserting comic relief. If you are already writing a comedy, you probably don't need to have comic relief. In fact, you probably need the opposite, which is gravitas within a comedy story. So comedies kind of invert what I'm talking about. I think a really great example is, again, Star Wars. Especially, not even the first trilogy, but the entire 6 movies of Star Wars use comic relief a lot. In fact, it's something you see in lots of George Lucas movies. You see it in lots of Steven Spielberg movies as well. Both of those guys really knew the importance of making sure you have some sort of comic relief. When you have a serious story or a scary story, a story that is dramatic or evoking of, say, certain emotions that are considered negative, like fear or sadness. Having moments where the audience can laugh provides an outlet for what are otherwise overwhelming or unpleasant feelings. If a movie makes you feel sad from beginning to end, a lot of people will come away from that really not feeling good about the movie. In fact, it's very difficult to make a movie that has a melancholic mood throughout and will leave you feeling good at the end, unless you're able to use some of what I'm talking about here, which is comic relief. But if you look at the original Star Wars movies, they're played very straight. All 6 of them are played really straight, whether you're looking at the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy. But they're full of comic relief. And so if you look at the first movie, what you have in terms of comic relief is the movie really begins with a very serious scene. Darth Vader breaking into the ship and killing people. And the next thing that you get are these silly droids. So C-3PO, the anxious android, is really present to provide comic relief for all the gravitas of the story. So the story has like very serious consequences. Planets blowing up. There's a planet that gets blown up in the course of the original Star Wars movie. And so C-3PO is there to joke, fine, I'm going my way. So most of the things that he does are silly. Same thing with R2-D2. R2-D2 is more of almost like a Three Stooges kind of physical comedy character. He literally emotes with woo, 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 woo. He does his little whistles and stuff like that. And those are his like emotes, if you will, for whatever he happens to be doing. It's really, really effective in that original trilogy. And you also have Han Solo. And so Han Solo is really a bad boy kind of character. He's a character that has a lot of serious things going for him, but he's also joking a lot. And that's why he's very appealing. He's a handsome man. He's a dangerous man. But he also jokes a lot. And those jokes provide a lot of relief for otherwise tense situations. So when the garbage compactor is going to smush them, we're all going to get a lot thinner, right? Things like that. That's part of the comic relief that is present in Star Wars. So if you were to take the serious situation out, it's why Star Wars parodies often don't work, in my opinion, is because Star Wars is actually full of comedy. There are so many funny things happening in Star Wars that it's difficult to parody. It's like doing a parody of Men in Tights. Like, Men in Tights is itself a parody. Star Wars, because it contains so much comedy, you can make parodies of it, but the parodies, to me, often fall flat because Star Wars, while it has the very straight playing story, is so full of this comic relief that I don't think it ends up working all that well for parody. If you look at the prequel trilogy, you primarily have in the first movie Jar Jar Binks as a comic relief character. He's a bumbling buffoon. He is taking the place of both R2-D2 and C-3PO. He's saying things that are silly. He's doing things that he does physical comedy. He gets his like tongue shocked and his tongue is like numb. And it's a bunch of little comic relief because the actual story of The Phantom Menace is very straight and very serious. So I think Star Wars is a great example of that, but you'll have it in Indiana Jones. You have it in a lot of the stuff that George Lucas is involved with, because I think George really understands the power of these two seemingly opposite things. And the reason comic relief works is that laughter is a thing which is generated by pain. You stop and think about it. You're like, well, I like to laugh. You like to laugh because it relieves pain. Laughter is generated from what would be negative emotions or situations that might evoke negative emotions. But it's a sense of mocking of them. By mocking those, it becomes a release for those negative emotions. And just a little anecdote from my past, I did a piece that was, I'm hesitant to call it musique concrète because it includes actual instruments and music, not just sounds that have been turned into a soundscape like Jonathan Chowning or maybe Morton Subotnick or some of these other musique concrète artists. Of course, Morton Subotnick has done lots of other kind of stuff as well. But I had these 4 different moods. So I created these pieces based on these 4 different moods that you basically have, 4 different basic emotions: sad, mad, glad, scared. So it was a 4 movement musique concrete-ish piece. And so I had this friend of mine come in, and I had her record a bunch of stuff. So I recorded her laughing, crying, screaming, and I don't remember. So anyway, I had her recording different things that like are related to this. Well, I felt like during the sad part, the crying part, I didn't quite have enough sounds. So I just put the laughter on there. And you couldn't tell the difference between the laughing and the crying when they were both happening at the same time. That's because they're very close, and because the context of the piece, because things sounded so sad, because the sounds I used were so grim otherwise to support the voice, it just all sounded like crying. Likewise, I could put the crying in the laughter track, and you couldn't tell that someone was crying on that track. So laughing and crying sound so similar that if you play them at the same time, they can really sound like this exact same thing. So when you laugh, think about how a comedian tells a joke. A comedian tells a joke about, if you're watching a Brian Regan skit, he tells a joke about how he went to the hospital, right? He's like, I had the stomach thing and went to the hospital. Now that's a relaxing drive. Merge, everybody merge. That's his bit. Now, in reality, that's a pretty awful and like stressful situation, right? To try to drive yourself to the hospital when you're very sick. Why is that funny? Well, it's funny because having already passed through that pain, we can now look back at it and laugh and mock, and it provides a release for what would otherwise be an extremely tragic thing. I have to drive myself to the hospital while I'm throwing up on myself. Things like that. So that's really what I'm talking about with comic relief, is that in intense situations, laughter provides a release of the intense emotional buildup. Another it's a good example, and in some cases a bad example, and that's why I want to bring it up. Another good one is the Marvel franchise, the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now this takes cues from the comics themselves, because Stan Lee understood this as well. Stan Lee understood the importance of comedy. If you read Spider-Man comics in particular, it's in all of them. It's in X-Men and stuff like that. You'll notice that the characters do these little one-liners. They do these quips. They do these jokes all the time. And that is because in a comic format, it's supposed to be fun. And so if you're going to tell a serious story, you have to include lots of little jokes. So Spider-Man has all of these little one-liners. Stick around, or they have that's Predator, right? Where Arnold throws the knife into the guy and it's like stick around, That's comic relief. So the comics were full of it, and of course the MCU is full of it. But I feel like in a lot of MCU movies, you'll notice that there's a line that's crossed where they forget why they're telling the jokes. So the movies end up so full of snark. They end up so full of jokes. They end up so full of comic relief that the comic relief is no longer a comic relief. It's just kind of cruel snarkiness for no reason. It becomes too much. It no longer becomes a relief from the tense emotions. Rather, the tense emotions are not really there. And then instead you just have people being snarky with each other. But you'll notice that they'll do that. There'll be a bunch of aliens coming down and they're fighting them. And then there's a joke like Hulk smashes Loki or something like that. And the audience laughs. And that's because this is like a very intense climax. You don't know, is everybody going to die? Is the world going to be destroyed? You have all this uncertainty in the story. Well, that provides a little bit of relief from that tension. So kind of like I talk about how writing plot is like making music. You have tension and release, tension and release. Well, comic relief is a way to relieve the tension of the emotions that somebody's feeling without relieving the tension of the story. So we're still uncertain about the story outcomes, but we tell some jokes and people don't feel as tense as really the story should perhaps justify. So I think that that's actually a good one. It's James Cameron does it. A lot of your favorite directors, a lot of the directors that have directed big blockbuster movies that are designed to appeal to a lot of people, understand intuitively the importance of comic relief, and they put it in their movies. I think partly because as any art form goes on, it becomes self-referential. So the MCU starts to reference itself more than it creates new things. It starts to create snark because that's what the medium demands. Iron Man and all these other movies were full of snarky wit. In fact, that was an objection, I think, to the original Iron Man movies. Like, this isn't my Tony Stark. My Tony Stark from the comics is very dour all the time, and he doesn't make any jokes. Well, the people who made those MCU movies knew that you were going to need comic relief if you were going to tell this very serious story. And the first Iron Man movie in particular is very serious. So you need that comic relief in order to relieve some of that tension, because the story carries so much tension in and of itself. It's such a stark situation in some cases. So that's my point. It starts to cross over the line, stops being comic relief and starts to be something that is just part of the style, and then it loses a lot of its effect. So that's comic relief. That's my storycraft on comic relief. Should you put it in your stories? Well, it depends what kind of story you're writing. So I'll go back to the beginning. If you're writing a comedy, you actually want to create the inverse of this. And you'll notice it in a really, really good comedy will have, instead of having a bunch of comic relief in the climax, it has very serious moments in its climax. So really good one, a Jim Carrey movie is Liar Liar. Liar Liar is a silly movie almost the whole way through until we get to this critical part where, Jim Carrey is realizes he's a bad father and he's treated his family wrong and all these sorts of things. That sort of situation is really important because we haven't had a whole lot of that seriousness on the way. What we have in Liar Liar are, rather than comic relief, we have like sadness relief. So it's funny, funny, funny. Oh, but remember, this is actually pretty sad. Funny, funny, funny. Oh, remember, this is kind of sad. And then we have a climax that's really about things being sad, not things being funny, before we get back to the comedy and end with a lot of funny and uplifting sorts of feelings, that sort of thing. So anyway, I thought I would talk about that. Leave me your thoughts and let me know what you think about that. And we will go ahead and get to playing some games. And I'll check out the chat here as we go. I'm going to check my mic settings here. I think I'm on the right setting. I'm using my USB mic today, and I'm finding that it's pretty hot. Like the gain on it's really hot. See what I mean? Oh, I had it cranked all the way up. Oh, God, it's reversed. So I had it cranked all the way up. There we go. I'm like, it's really hot. Yeah, I had it at maximum volume. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. All right. So now that we have that set up correctly, and hopefully the video on demand doesn't sound too bad, we'll go ahead and hop into some Final Fantasy VI. I'm trying to remember where I'm at. Playing a game only once a week, kind of weird. Like you end up kind of losing track of what you're doing sometimes, which is not the best. Like where am I doing in this game anyway? Here we go. Boop, 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 boop. No, that's not it. Oh, that's why. I disconnected one of my monitors, the display one. It's still not there. There we go. Ba-bum. Ba-bum. Let's see where we're at. Okay, saved there. Alright, so yeah, alright. We're heading out of the cave. We already defeated one of the dragons. It is like 75 degrees outside right now in Central California. Fire dance. Beeps and boops. Slot. Blitz doing a lot of work in these fights. I was watching your publishing playlist and I'm wondering what color schemes you would recommend for a character drama in a fantasy setting. Well, probably blue. blue and orange, blue and yellow. Just like copy the colors from Name of the Wind. It's a really cheap bad cover, but like the colors are correct. That's why it works. So yeah, blue. Fantasy, you're gonna usually have colors that are like blue and green. So probably blue, and then you can have your text be, whatever other color you like. Usually yellow or orange. Orange has the highest contrast. Yellow, I think, is still very high contrast. So either one of those. If you go with something like purple, then you're going to be in the like paranormal romance section. And if you do something that's all yellow, unless it's a desert story, people are going to... It's a desert story. That's the desert color. So Dune can be yellow because it takes place in the desert. Westerns are yellow. Wait, let's see. His magic. Doesn't have Cure 1. There we go. Just use our magic of our guys that we never use magic on. It's very efficient. Last few cold days here. 40 in Montana. Slightly jealous. I like it cold. Any thoughts on the upcoming Bethesda game Starfield? I have not. I don't know anything about it. So, no. Been reading your Water of Awakening book. I'm at the part where the 3 crows have appeared. I like them quite a bit. They're going to be very angry that you called them crows. They are not crows. They are ravens. Crow is an insult. I like how this guy steals 9,000 gil at a time. Alright. I don't know if we get it back, because we get like a lot of gil here. 19,000. I think we get the gil back when we kill him. So hopefully you enjoyed that. My ravens are comic relief characters. Speaking of comic relief, so Zul, Zim, Zald, they are the comic relief characters of that story, to provide a little bit of levity to the story. What's your thoughts on Spaceballs? I like Spaceballs. It is a It is a Star Wars parody. I was really thinking of like Family Guy parodies and Simpsons parodies and like all these shows. Well, every show does like a Star Wars parody, and it's always kind of lame because Star Wars has so much comedy in it to begin with. But you know, I like Spaceballs, and I think I like Spaceballs because it doesn't tell the story straight. Again, it's an inversion of Star Wars. So Spaceballs tells its story in a very silly way, and but still has like the romance and other kinds of things going on for it that provide the gravitas of the story. I have so many story ideas and settings I have trouble deciding what to focus on. It's a good problem to have. I have the same problem because, you know, I got so many things that I want to put out. Some things I have to go back and edit, you know, and it's like, man, I don't want to do that. I find the drafting process to be the most exciting. And so it's hard for me to do anything that's not that. It's not like the most exciting thing. And I like publishing as well. I like when you get close to putting a book out. That's always feels good. Get that completed product out. Oh yeah, newest book is out. I mean, it's not out. Well, sort of. It comes out on Friday. Okay, it's called Shadow and Smoke. It's the third book of the Moonsong series. Stay on my mailing list, dvspress.com/list, and you will have an opportunity to get these. I'm going to have some free giveaways for them this week. I didn't set it up for today. Figured it'd be good to do it during the week. So, book 1, City of Silver, if you haven't read it. Book 2, Tyrant's Gallow. And then we have book 3, Shadow and Smoke. Link is in the chat. It's really good. I really enjoyed. I shouldn't say it was a very arduous editing process, but I'm happy with the final product. I think it's much better than it would have been had I not taken all the trouble that I took to actually edit the thing. What are your thoughts on black and white book covers with a single item or object in color? I think those can look very good. So one of the things that you have to think about with black and white and perception. I don't have a book cover to show as an example because I always bring color into my book covers. So like with Needle Ash, you know, it's green. It's very green except for the red of his coat of plates there. The coat of plates I made very red, so there's a little bit of more color brought into it. Here we go. This one is really monocolor, right? These are monocolor. Now this is blue, right? But because of the way it's presented, you really perceive it as colorless. Likewise, this is red. It's very obviously red, but most of the colors on it are like orange, right? It's a monocolor. So if you do one color, you want to do a color that works for your genre. And there's different colors for different genres. Here, let me put on my big camera here so you can see the books rather than tiny corner. All right, so this is one color, right? Blue and yellow, serious, spooky, right? But really it looks like black and white because when there's one color, especially blue. So blue is a special color in that your brain will often interpret it as not a color at all. It's the most neutral color that you can use. So if you're wanting a slight bit of color with something, you can often use blue, and people will not think of it as blue. The reason for that is the sky is blue. So we're surrounded by blue all the time. We're not used to thinking of the sky as being some kind of interesting color. Rather, it's a neutral thing, that light blue. So whenever you use blue, really it kind of gets perceived as black and white. And you can see this with comics. They'll highlight black, not with white. What do you highlight black with? Well, you highlight it with blue, and people perceive the highlighted blue as being part of the black, as weird as that is. You can go back and look at comics. What color is Conan's hair? Most people would say it's black. You go look at the Conan comics. his hair is actually blue. But you don't perceive it as blue because it's only the highlights which are blue, and everything else is black, so you think his hair is black. It's the same thing. What color is Venom? What color is the comic book character Venom? He's actually blue. Oh no, he's black. He's black. Go back and look at Venom, especially Venom comics from the 90s, or where he's in Spider-Man comics in the 80s and 90s. He's actually blue. That is, the only color on him is blue. It's black and blue. The blue highlights the black and makes you just think that it's some kind of shiny part on the black. You don't even perceive it as blue. Okay, so that's an interesting thing to keep in mind. So yeah, you can totally do black and white with like one single item in color, but you can do what I did here, which is one color that's a neutral color, this kind of light green, and then one color that stands out, red. You can also do that. And if you really want to hit your genre colors really well, you can do that. Let's see if I have another example here, right? So in this, the only color is right here. There's just this lightning is a color. And everything else is perceived as gray, but it's actually not gray at all. It's actually teal. So this comes across as a black and white cover, but it is not black and white at all. It is actually teal. And I'll look at the, let's look at the, again, I'm not showing what I'm doing here. I wonder if I can pause this. So, all right, let me show you the Shadow and Smoke cover. And you guys can tell me what you think about that. Where is it here? I have so many folders full of Word documents. It's like starting to get overwhelming to try to find all of my stuff. Here we go. Here it is. All right, so let's look at this cover and I'll show you what I mean. So it looks like a very colorful cover, but all of this black gray is actually teal. It's not black and white at all. It's teal. But we perceive it as a neutral color because it's dark, it's desaturated, but it's in the teal range. It's bluish, a little bit of green. And then we have a highlight color of yellow. And this is really the only color we get is the red hair and half of the girl's face. And so it looks somewhat colorful, but really it's very limited color range. So if you're looking at designing book covers or really anything, if you're just looking at painting a painting, limited color range is going to be your friend. Knowing how to work with limited color range is going to make the entire thing pop a lot more. If you had all the colors in the rainbow in this, it would just look like a mess. You know, like go take a picture of something really colorful and it starts to look like a mess after a while. The eye is not drawn to anything, but this, our eyes kind of just doesn't really, it just barely perceives, okay, this is an alley with maybe some smoke. The smoke is actually teal, not black and white, right? Like a yellow and gray font here, and then, you know, this is perceived as white. It's actually, again, blue. It's not white at all. But if you, unless you're holding a piece of white up to it, you're not going to realize that Moonsong Book 3 and David V. Stewart are blue. You're going to think that they're white. Likewise, you're going to think this is white, even though it's blue. The yellow here is, you're going to correctly perceive as yellow because it's in contrast to the blue, but it's actually kind of green. So there's a lot of colors that your perception of the color is going to be altered a little bit based on the context of what's in the piece. So using fewer colors is better. So yeah, you can do black and white with just one object in color, but I'd also suggest doing blue depending on your genre, or maybe even like teal or desaturated, some desaturated blue-green color. And then having that be very desaturated, so basically, I always have to go back and think in terms of like paint mixing. You mix it with black and white, and it becomes, lighter and more desaturated. So mix it with black, and you're going to get a more desaturated grayish color. And people will just perceive it as a neutral color, as gray, black and white. They think it's part of grayscale, even though it's very much a color, and that can really help the contrast between the colors and making everything pop. So the colors that you choose to use with your designs all of that is really critical to making your design not to making it feel coherent and to draw the eye to the right places, to the title, to the images, to what you're trying to show. You know, like there's figures here walking around, but the eye really should be drawn to her because she's pretty, and then, you know, the color just kind of provides the rest of it. So anyway, it's a pretty good design. I like that design for this one. Between some of your books and Shadiversity's novel and light novel series, I don't know where to start. Yeah, just read what's good here. So, thank you, Waylon. I'm glad you like City of Silver. Hopefully, you like this third book. Anyway, that's my thing on book covers. What are your thoughts on Spaceballs? Okay, got that. Okay. Have you seen the new images from Lord of the Rings? Yes, I have. And they are, you know, like what I said, we know that this is going to suck. Can't get in the ship for some reason. Let's get this guy. The white, gold, blue, black dress thing, yeah. I correctly perceived it. Lots of people didn't because they have more contextual color, like color perception. Most people's color perception is not very objective. They don't have perfect color. Like that might be an actual test. Actually, is some people have perfect pitch, like they could tell exactly what frequency a sound is, or they could tell what pitch class it is. They could tell whether it's like a C or a C sharp. I don't have that, but I do have very, very good color perception. And I've tested it where people are like, no, you're not seeing this color correctly. And I go and I take a picture of it, and the camera, you can get apps that will analyze the color mix on it. And I'm like, no, this is actually brown. And they're like, no, it's green. And then I look it up and it's like, no, it's actually more orange than green. I'm correct, because that's what brown is. It's very desaturated orange. Many times, right? Like my color perception is very accurate. I have well, I got rid of that. Sorry, allergy season. I figured out who the character in armor in Amazon is trying to pass off as Galadriel really is. It's Sir Galahadriel. It's a good one. Sir Galahad, the Brave. Let's see if I can figure out where the heck I was. This is kind of like non-linear, but I don't remember what I've done. Let's see here. Where's our map? Alright. I don't remember where we're supposed to go next, so... Oops. There we go. We have our ship, so really we can go pretty much anywhere. Is there anything over here? So stay here, rest at the end. That's a good idea. Miranda. Yeah, Jeff Bezos says he wanted to be as Game of Thrones. Just something that lost all cultural relevance the second it passed. It's fan fiction that really wants you to take it seriously as not fan fiction. That's really the problem I have with it, I guess. Can I land here? I don't think I can. I think once you leave here, you can't ever land here again. No, maybe you can. Love Grandad. Palador Magicite. There we go. Part of what makes Lord of the Rings interesting is it takes place in a world with like thousands of years of history that have already happened, and you're walking through the ruins of that memory. It's a very specific effect that I've used in my novels too, but it has a different effect than like history, which is new. Can we go in here? I think we can. Or is it sealed off? It's sealed off still. I don't know if we can, like... Right, we're going in! Uh-oh. Kefka's Tower. I don't know if I should do this. It's time to break into Kefka's domain! I don't think we're, I think this is a little bit too early for this. I haven't gotten the guys, all the guys yet. So I probably don't want to do this. The statues give the Espers the magical energy they need to live. If we destroy the statues, what'll happen? I'm really not sure, but the Espers and the Magicite too will cease to exist. And then, what will happen to Lucina? I need to form 3 groups. Yeah, I don't have all my guys, so let me see if I can. I don't know if I can. Yeah, we went there a little too fast. I don't know if we can get out of that, so it's all right. We'll lose some time. I don't know what that'll do. We'll find out. Oh, it healed everybody. Okay, that's nice. There was a one-time free YouTube showing of the Daily Wire's new thriller movie Shut In on Thursday. It was very good. I'm glad you liked it. Is Lord of the Rings Third Age worth playing? I don't know. Never played it. No idea. Someone else can answer. You don't really have to equip, like, recruit Gao, I guess, because he's pretty useless. Chocobos! Incorrect blitz input. Get out of here. Get him, Chocobos! Saddest thing about Amazon's Lord of the Rings show is how much various fan sites have sold out to relentlessly shill for it and blast any naysayers. It's disgusting. You know it's going to suck. Like, they have signaled so hard that it's going to shit all over everything. There's no reason to watch it. Except if you want to watch something bad, or you want to watch something that you love be shit on. Or you don't care at all. And you just want, like, more Game of Thrones kind of stuff. In which case, go ahead. Watch it. Now, see, the thing is they could have made their own original fantasy series for that same amount of money. And it could have been whatever they wanted it to be. With whatever races they wanted, in whatever way they wanted to do it. But they pick old IPs that are already established specifically to destroy them. Because they don't respect them. Because they want people to have a different perception of what they are. And because, like, why would somebody watch your original thing? I already know what Lord of the Rings is. You know, people already know what Lord of the Rings is. Alright, we learned some magic here. Yeah, you need most of the characters, the final dungeon. Yeah, that's correct. So better get at least some of them. Let's see here. Skills. Let's look at our espers. Yeah, Fenrir. Where are we at? Fenrir. We got all the Fenrir learned. We don't have Life and Remedy, so let's put that one on. And espers. Yes, Shiva. Did we learn everything from Shiva? Yes. So let's put on... do Phantom. Bismarck. Fenrir. Fenrir. Maduin. Know all those. We don't know lots of Shiva, so we'll do Shiva. Carbuncle. We know... we're not done with Carbuncle. Okay. They do it to dunk on you. If you can't wrap your mind around why they're doing it. Yeah, they do it to dunk on you. It's all about dunking on you. Or who they perceive of you. You know? They perceive... and it's really funny because, like, you'll notice that they have the same script. Angry white males don't like this. And it's like... the fandom is full of people of lots of different ethnicities. Not just white people. But you have this idea that, like, things are the way that Tolkien wrote them. Like, you know, the Rohirrim are specifically blonde. They're supposed to be kind of like Viking warriors. You know what I mean? So, like, people from any ethnicity can respect that. The same reason I wouldn't want to watch... like, they made this... I think they made, like, a 47 Ronin movie. I never watched it. With Keanu Reeves. And it's kind of like... you know... shouldn't we have Japanese people in this story? That takes place in feudal Japan? It's not like The Last Samurai that's about, like, the Meiji Restoration where there was lots of Westerners present. Like, if you watch The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise as a Westerner, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? But... it would make no sense to have Westerners in a 47 Ronin movie. Just no sense. At all. Slam Dancer. Just coming to the punk show. There we go. I mean, it's European fantasy. You might expect Europeans to be prominent in it. You know, it's like, oh, let me go make a Romance of the Three Kingdoms with a bunch of Africans and white people in it. No, we kind of know that you wouldn't do that. Let's make Journey to the West, but no Chinese people. You know, people like watching movies with actors who don't look like them. The idea that, oh, I need representation. I can't enjoy a movie unless everyone in the movie looks like me. Or at least someone in the movie looks exactly like me. It's rather silly. It's like, well, I can't enjoy Chinese movies because it's full of Chinese people. I can't watch those Bollywood movies. It's full of Indians. I need to see white people. We already did this. But there is a magicite over here to pick up. The De Niro version of that story? Oh, the introduction to Shut-In explained in detail how Hollywood had wanted to butcher the script. He also threw shade at the pure flick-style movies that play it safe for a niche audience. Do you like the De Niro version? I'm not sure what story we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, pure flick stuff, I mean, it's a Christian marketing, I call it like fish in a barrel marketing, which is like you... I'm going to find Velt. I don't remember where Velt is. So I'm not sure. Can I get like a little more perspective here? There we go. I see some dots here. There's the tower. Here, there's something here. What is this? It's the same thing with like a lot of Christian rock stuff. You know, it's made for the audience to have something that is theirs. Or, you know, like, I don't know. I think there's movies just really made for like specific ethnic audiences too. You know, like the Medea movies. It's like a joke that like it's specifically made for like some subset of the African American population. Wait, where am I? Wait, what is this? This is Zen. Zen! Buy some potions. Super Ball. I don't know what that does. Bounding damage. Interesting. I don't know if I need that. Let's buy a couple of those. I think there's some more silence coming up too. Man, I'm really annoyed that this movie was full of Japanese people. Man, I can't watch this anime. They're like talking some weird language. I don't want to read. I don't watch TV shows, guys. So, like, asking if I see in a series, the answer is 99% of the time, no. You know, I have like maximum 20 minutes per day to consume passive media. And I'm usually doing that while I'm eating and or exercising. And I've been trying to gobble up running while it's cold, because once it gets warm where I'm at, you can't run outside. Power sash. I think we have all this stuff. The Medea movies, I mean, as far as I understand it, it's like very heavily marketed towards black audiences. I don't know really any white people who have watched them. I don't really know any black people who watched them either, let's be honest. But it's kind of like the BET. It's like a BET movie almost. I'm surprised, like, how many people after Force Awakens continue to, like, believe that. Uh-oh. 2 groups. Maybe I can leave. We'll do... I think this is not the one I wanted to go to again. I think we can leave, though. Yeah, I think we can just... Use the Y button to switch between groups. This is not where I want to be yet. I gotta get a few more guys for that. Lift off. Reacher's on the Jack... I know the Jack Reacher books. I've never read them. They don't really interest me. But if you like them, that's great. I think it's... Belt is probably up here somewhere. Not sure what that is. That's another area. Go to. And we can fly around. Where's there to go to? Wait, there's something over here. Just do not remember where anything is in this little... I think that's a mountain pass. So, let's see what's right here. If they got Lucas to direct another trilogy, it'd probably break records again. Oh, this is funny. It's like a one-man party. I haven't seen any skilled repair people in ages. How I ended up with the one party. Go. Oh yes, change party members. Something happens to me, all the women will grieve. Oh, super chat. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the stream. Are you going to give Elden Ring a shot? I might. I hadn't had it on the docket right now because I got so much stuff going on right now. It's really, it's really difficult to do. I'm probably moving out of state. So that is probably happening. Which means I gotta sell a house, which is a lot of work. Maybe it's back over on this continent. I've been here. Let's find out. Let's look up a map. The Colosseum. Probably not where I want to go right now. See here. it? I think it's up here. Coliseum. So I'm just trying to remember where I'm trying to go here. There it is. Oh, it's way over there. I'm in the wrong place. It's on the other continent. Yeah, I mean, I might play Elden Ring, but it won't be for George R.R. Martin. You know what I mean? It's for the gameplay. I really, it's not that I don't care about stories in game, but like when I see George R.R. Martin involved, that doesn't make me think it's going to be a good story. To be fair, I've only read one of his books, which is the first Song of Ice and Fire book, Game of Thrones, which is not a bad book. I could say that I think I enjoyed the book. I just didn't really care about continuing the series at the end of it. I just felt like it had nowhere to go. I don't think he's a bad writer, but if I'm playing a game, it's because the game looks like it's fun, not because like a certain writer's involved. Maybe other people have different feelings on that, and that's fine. I think this is where we want to go, right? It's around here somewhere. I think there's a cave. Oh, there's a cave right there. That's where we want to go, right here. Oh, yeah. No. See, they were working on the show, Hardwick. They were working on the show before Christopher Tolkien died. So, the day Christopher Tolkien died, they recast the show. They stopped their production work, fired the actors, recast the show, and completely changed it. It's the doggo. So literally, he died, and when he was no longer able to do anything, they changed the show. That tells you everything you need to know. It's like, as soon as his corpse wasn't even cold, a toe cutter. It's like Mad Max. They used Tom Shippey's NDA violation as a pretense to fire him, but they completely retooled the show as soon as Christopher Tolkien died, because they were they were able to at that point do what they wanted without anyone telling them no. Yeah. I mean, that should let everybody, like, literally they announced all the changes, and like actors were coming out saying I got fired the day after Christopher Tolkien died. The day after he died. Which meant they were just waiting for him to die. And like someone's like, Christopher Tolkien's dead. We can do what we want to do now. It's like, let's fire all these actors. We'll rehire them the way we want to, and we'll rewrite everything the way we want to write it. You know it's going to be bad. Like, I don't think there's any way that this is, like, it's one of those things where I don't even know if it can be technically good. Like, can you make something technically good with that attitude? Having the attitude of, like, I hate the thing I'm doing. I don't know if you can. Like, I would doubt that it would be able to be technically good. Like, the Wheel of Time show is technically very bad. It's very badly done overall. Like, the actors are like limp-wristed, effeminate fools. Like, it's really bad. But people are used to crap, so I guess it gets a pass. That's the best thing I can say, is that I think people are so used to crap that the show might be successful anyway. People are simply not used to anything being good. They're like unable to perceive of goodness. They're so used to eating, like slurping down garbage. We three recently went hunting on the veldt. We saw some weird kid there dressed in all hides. For some reason, he never came near when all four of us were together. We're going to have a three-party member. In a forest north of the veldt dwells a frightful dragon. Suppose no human could ever defeat it, but oh, how free we would be if someone could. Reduce the number of people in your party if you want him to approach you. Thank you for the tips, guys. Ooh, the fire burned me. What is this? Do you know Lord of the Rings show is contractually obligated to film 5 seasons? I didn't know that. That's funny. Oh, boy. Can I come out of here? Da, 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 da. Shadiversity's reviews of Wheel of Time were a great example of when giving the benefit of the doubt goes wrong, watching his spirit crumble more each episode. I know he was a Robert Jordan fan, so... How do I get that chest up there? What the heck is... Why can't I get it? Is there a reason Chad sometimes just puts the hockey mask on when he uses the chainsaw? Does it signify anything? I thought he always does it. Does he not always do it? Maybe it's extra damage. Yeah, he didn't do it that time. I don't know. I don't know what it signifies. How do I get that? Goodness in me. I don't know how to get to the... I want the loot! Ah. There's got to be a way through that. What are your thoughts on Anne McCaffrey? Oh, who did... Anne McCaffrey, did she do... she did the Dragon Riders? Dragon Riders of Pern. I like Dragon Riders of Pern a lot. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Dragon Riders of Pern. I think it's very original. It has an interesting thing, which is basically like people... forgot that they were aliens in these foreign worlds, but in general, I like it a lot. So I do recommend those books. I had a lot of fun reading them. The audiobooks, I listened to the audiobook of the first one recently, and it's pretty good. So the audiobooks, if you have an Audible subscription, I can actually recommend. Not all narratives, not all narrations are equal, but those ones are pretty good. I liked them. The first one's called Dragonflight, I think, and it's really good. It's actually a kind of like Michael Moorcock's stuff. It's really like 4 novellas that make up one larger narrative. And so the narrative is about these. Starts with the recruitment of this one character to be kind of like in charge of the big female dragon, and then you find out like there's this red star coming, and it drops these things that are threads, which are all right. It's undead, so that's not going to work on it. Let's see what life does. Might kill it instantly. There we go. That was easy. What's up, John? Hope you're having a good day. I'm gonna plug John real quick. Let's plug John Delarose. Yeah. Missing one of the others. But anyway, we'll plug John's book real quick. Okay, Days Vault. It's kind of like Portal Fantasy. The main character is a crusader. He goes and gets sucked off and has to. No, I didn't say that right. He goes in and gets portaled off, and he's got to help some cat people. And I have one of the inks behind me. You could probably see it. So I got one of Jesse's inks back there. So you can check out John's book, Deus Vult. Art by Jesse White. I think Matt Krotz did the color. The colors are great. I love that these colors are not that super saturated color you get with a lot of modern comics. And it's on a matte page with this binding, and so these colors just look fantastic with this matte page. They're just really, really good. A lot of modern comics use like a slick magazine paper. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and they use really like very dark, lots of ink. But I think if you had done dark, lots of ink on the matte pages, it would not have looked nearly as good as these colors look. Look at this Cerberus, this Hound of Hell, got this such scary stuff. So anyway, check that out. Yeah, that came out a little funny, sorry. That came out a little funny, sorry. Tiger fangs. Is Deus Vult preachy at all? It's pretty much just action. I don't think it's preachy. The main character is Christian, though. So take from that what you want. It doesn't take place in the Crusades, rather the main character is a crusader. Yeah, it's kind of in the style. It's more indicative of European comics. Jesse has actually done European comics, art-wise. The storytelling is more like, I would say, more like classic Marvel, which is to say, let's say before the rise of guys like McFarlane, you know. So really like straight shooting story style. Quick characterization, blast through the plot. You don't spend a lot of time characters moping around having nine cells of dialogue where they're reflecting on their own feelings like modern comics. It's mostly action, which I prefer. Yeah, I like the style of the European comics. They're very ignored by the American comics crowd because of the dominance of Kate. Like, once all the normies got ejected from comics fandom in the 90s and it became completely pulled into the comic shop, you lost a lot of genres. So you lost a lot of genres that I don't know if we'll get them back, you know, at least in American comics, outside of indies. So you lost genres that were like horror genre comics. You lost a lot of fantasy stuff. Conan comics are still around. I think that's mostly because of the brand. And if it weren't for the Conan name, I don't think you'd see a lot of Conan comics. We're not looking at the gameplay here. Let's look at the gameplay. Yes, Savage Sword of Conan. I know Jesse's a fan of Savage Sword of Conan because I've talked to him about it. So the art's like it. The storytelling is a lot like that too. Like classic Marvel. If you like classic Conan the Barbarian comics, that's what you're getting. You know, you're getting the classic stuff. You're not getting something with 200 issues of characters emoting at each other and you know, all that kind of stuff you get with modern comics. You know, people talk about the ascendancy of manga. Manga is really filling in a vacuum in America because Americans haven't had good graphic art outside of a couple kind of niche things in a really long time. They've just had cape shit, and garbage cape shit at that. You know, the cape genre has been pretty bad for like 2 decades now, as far as mainstream comics go. That's my opinion. Now, of course, there's good ones in the mix, and that's a generalization, etc., etc. But, you know, if you're looking for a return to like the awesomeness of the 80s or even the 90s, it's not going to happen for Marvel and DC. They're not interested in it. They're interested in selling 5,000 copies to their 5,000 fans and, you know, basically being supported as an IP factory for, you know, by whoever owns them now. I don't remember who owns DC right now, Warner or someone. I enjoyed manga 20 years ago, but it was a fringe thing, and this was the thing that I remember comic guys got upset. It's like bookstores were carrying manga, you know. So like you could go down to Borders and get manga, and the comic guys wouldn't stock it because they were like, I don't know, they were snobs about their crappy selling garbage full color books. I can't believe everybody's reading manga. It's like, well, manga delivers a good story, which is what American comics hadn't done for a long time. Like, I'm talking like 2002, 20 years ago, there was tons of manga in bookstores. But it wasn't nearly at the level that it is now, you know. Now let's, I guess we could have just used the sleeping bag. What does tent do compared to that? Oh, yes, we'll just recover the party. What are your thoughts on the Mennonite Anabaptist teaching of non-resistance? Well, as a Mennonite, that's what I was raised as, I actually don't agree with it. It's not non-resistance, it's non-violence. So let's look at it that way. Resistance, you're permitted to resist non-violently because that's martyrdom, right? So, you know, a person being crucified is not resisting. He's being martyred, right? So I don't believe in that. So this is the thing about the Anabaptists really believe in a passivity, not a non-resistance. Look at those wounds. Oh no! It's a boss. Ooh, look at this guy. Behemoth. See how easy it is to hit him with the chainsaw. Slam him down. Captain Kirk was Christian in the original Star Trek. Captain Kirk is Christian. It's more subtle. Gene Roddenberry didn't like it. You know, he wanted these like atheistic humanists, and the network was like, "No, people aren't going to like that." And they were right. There's this part where we're like, we don't need gods anymore. We just need the one. You know, where he's talking, and then like Star Trek V, they're going to search for God. Like, there's a monotheistic reality to most of Star Trek that people don't like to, I guess, remember that exists. So, anyway, yeah. So Mennonites. It's hard to say where exactly that came from, but it's basically a belief that like taking certain things in the Pauline letters to like their maximum meaning. You know, submit to earthly leaders, so on and so forth. Enemies coming from behind. Another monster appeared. Another behemoth. Suplex. Yeah, I agree with John. You know, Christianity needs people to push back against violence. There's a time for all things. There's a time for battle and there's a time for peace. People really should not see the first thing to do is to enact violence. You know, even with something like the Crusades were a defensive thing that happened after the loss of the Holy Land from Christian hands. They were not purely conquest. I think maybe he keeps coming back because he's insta-dying, so maybe we shouldn't do that. Meteor, uh-oh. Ouch. Suplex. You know, and I'll say this also about, like, let's say, Mennonites in general, is that they often don't stick by their principles when it comes to pacifism. So I've known so many who just will end up joining the military because they're part of the larger right-wing culture that was very pro-military. And like no one really said anything against it, like in my church, like this guy shouldn't join the military, that's against our religion. It just wasn't like a... People didn't take it that seriously. Probably the older folks took it a lot more seriously, but the younger people really didn't. And then you also have Mennonite Brethren, which was a church I went to, which have really just become most of the churches evangelical Christian, you know, this just like the standard evangelical Christian Protestant kind of thing, where they're all kind of non-denominational, interchangeable people. I was talking to my wife about this and some of the problems with a lot of Southern Baptists and that kind of stuff. All right, we won. Not that I hate Southern Baptists or anything, but they often are very centered around church leadership, like a certain pastor of a church who, almost like a cult of personality, rather than, believe it or not, the hierarchical nature of Catholicism and really Orthodoxy as well, where you have bishops above, you know, bishops and patriarchs, let's say, above like priests, really reigns in any kind of like attempt to create cults of personality. It really becomes all about the dogma of the church, and that's a good thing, because you want the idea of orthodoxy is the straight line. You actually don't want revisionism. You don't want reform. You want things to always be the same and be as constant as possible. And you only reform to go backwards because you may have gone slightly in the wrong direction at some point or something like that. And most Protestants believe that they are acting out what the church was like in the first century, which I think is probably not accurate. But in any event, there's all of these Protestant conventions, and they don't really enforce any of their dogmas on the member churches. It's more like they're like a banking organization, like they loan money to build churches and don't really have any control over that church. So you end up with head pastors who will say very heretical things sometimes. I've witnessed it. They'll say things that are very counter to even the teachings of their own denomination. Or they just ignore the more difficult parts of it because they're just into running a church. It's very popular in the South, not just Southern Baptists, but in the South in general. Anyway, what do you think of the Church of Christ? I don't really know enough about it to have any opinions. I'm not like a guy who can have an opinion on every single little different. I think Church of Christ is the one that doesn't have instruments, which I don't know where they get that. That's their thing, I haven't studied them enough to know why they believe that or to what degree. Yeah, many believe that disagreement equals hate that person. If you disagree with someone, it means you hate them, even though that may not be true. Thus, we don't speak when we ought to. Yeah, I don't really hate anyone. Yeah, Alexander Helene sent the Pulp Rock ebook out to backers. Yes. It'll launch on the 21st, so my new book comes out on the 18th. Pulp Rock comes out on the 21st, which is going to be great. And, I have a book in the Pulp Rock, so you can check that out. It's called Farewell to Once and Future Kings. Let's take her back to the Thamasa using the airship. I'll have to go back there and get Gal later, I guess. That's fine. Yeah, maybe it's next Friday. I'm not sure what's going on next Friday. I think I got people coming in to paint my house. I'm not sure if it's happening on the 18th. I'll have to look, but I'll message you, John, because I'd love to do more live streams with you. We always have good conversations. I'm just trying to think what my Friday is going to be like because I got so many things like lining up all at once. It's hard to keep track of it. You're having a nightmare. It's Kryl. I'm not sure what we named her. I've already done 2 sequels to it. Yeah, this second sequel's coming out. This is like the end of the first trilogy. There'll be more story after this. It'll be apparent when you get to the end of it that there's still more story to tell. But it's a good little conclusion to the first arc. Characters have their necessary growth, especially all the main characters in the series. And it's a lot of fun. I think it has a great conclusion. There's some good revelations. And the next couple books are going to be more like an Odyssey format. They're going to be more like each one is like a kind of a standalone adventure. I'm going to have a lot of fun with those too, I think. I've already written them, but I have to edit them and rewrite them. So that takes time. And this one took a lot more time and effort than I thought it would because it was the worst probably of the 3 I'd written. So I had to do the most editing. I wrote it when I was a younger writer. That's just how it was. I like this music too. Yeah, first book. I'll link the first book too. I'm gonna give away the first book for free this week, so I just don't have it set up on Amazon for free. Let me find it. City of Silver, there it is. I had a lot of fun writing this book. This new one's a little bit longer. It's about twice as long as City of Silver, but there's a lot going on. So that's the first one. Here's the new one. Technically, I'm going to say you can order the paperback of the new one, but if you order it right now, you may have the table of contents have a couple of the chapters will be listed on the wrong page because I have to re-up. I just found that mistake after I uploaded the PDF, the completed PDF for the print file. So I have to go back and just re-upload a new PDF after I'm done with this stream. And then everybody orders it this week. Should get to you by Friday, and then so you'll have the physical at the same time as anybody wants the ebook. So shipping should line up nicely for all of that. All the fun places are gone now. That's the saddest thing I've seen. And we have to go back and get Yao. All right. Let's check out what's in here. Do I have any relics I don't have yet? The guard ring. I don't have. I want to have all of them. There's no inventory limit in this game. Which of your books are you most proud of? I don't know. Muramasa Blood Drinker. I had a lot of fun writing this book. Water of Awakening, because it's kind of the book I always wanted to write as far as like an epic Odyssey style fantasy. I had a lot of fun writing that book. And I wrote it at a really fun time in my life. Probably Eyes in the Walls, which I just showed up earlier. Because it's just such a tight execution. I was really proud of being able to write the horror story that I wanted to write for that one. Circlet. Some characters might like a circlet. A dark hood. A light robe. Let's get it. Diamond vest. Not as good as what I've got. But I mean, I love every book. I love creating the books. I love doing what I do with them. I have a lot of fun. Gravity rod. I have these. All right. Wade Roberts says Eyes in the Walls is so based. It has an ending that people love that ending. And I'm pretty proud of how I executed that ending. I had quite a bit of fun doing that one. Now, I wrote it, I began writing it on a Halloween stream. I wrote it live. And then I just like, you know what, I'm going to continue this and I'm going to write a complete book. I thought the ninja was out here somewhere. Oh, here's a grave. General Leo. Can I get a sword? That would be sweet. Rob some graves. There's not nearly enough grave robbing in this game. We need more grave robbing. More. More grave robbing. Oh, I killed him. You're right, I left him to die. I forgot, I didn't, he died on the ship. So I probably can't get him again, huh? Oh, that's funny. Alright, we don't need to worry about him. That's what you go to the Coliseum to get him, but if he's not there, then that'll be interesting. I guess we can shorten this playthrough a little bit. Forgot there was something you had to do, like on the ship, to have him not die. Let's go change our party. Is there anyone I can change the party with? Oh, thank you, Wade. I didn't realize that he it would actually die. That's funny. All right. Then I think we could fight the dragon up north there too. There he is. Whoa! I think I still have the dried meat. There it is. I'm Blanca. I'm your friend. Let's travel together. Oh, I guess I didn't have to give him the meat. Alright, I got him. Let's give him Esper. Something he doesn't know here. Let's give him that to start. See you later, Arcane. Have a good day. Rhinotar! Donkey! Blanca! Gotta get him back. There he is. Woo! Alright. Let me take a look at his skills. Like, what does he have? He has Rage. So let's see. Hazer, Brawler, Whisper, Were-Rat, Rhinotar, Lobo, Stray Cat. Let's see if we can get... I think you can get some more out here. It's not... I don't know if it's like worth the time. Lobo and a guard. Let's try the guard here. Named Gal, I'm gay, so we keep repeating it. I'm gay, I'm gay. Let's see here. We got all those. Let's do show then. Spurs. It's got all that, so Stray, Madwin, Phantom. No, we don't have Phantom. Bismarck. Efreet. Unicorn. There we go, the Unicorn. And Espers. There's all those. Doesn't know regen. Palador. We'll do Palador. Okay. Are you going to get any of the optional characters? I'm not sure what optional characters there are. Are there some optional characters I don't know about? I don't know. Look at those cute bunnies inside of cabbages. I don't think we need the meat anymore. I think you can't get the meat, actually, because the town is, like, missing. There's a guard. I'm gonna try to get a few more. What time is it? Getting to the end of the stream here. Moogle, Sasquatch, and Mime. Ooh, a ghost. Yeah, I gotta get Terra. Ooh. Whispers. I think I already got those. So will this character only stay with you for one battle? No, I'm using him to... If you use that leap ability, then he'll learn a skill from that enemy that he can then use when he has the rage ability. So you kind of want to... This is the only place where he can collect skills. Otherwise, he can't get them. And this is like the only way to get them. It's kind of annoying, but... honestly, he's not that good a character. I just don't want him to be completely gimped. Here he is. And just don't attack him. Guard, Hazer, Brawler, Whisperer, Rhinotaur, Were-Rat, Lobo, Stray Cat, Hornet, Trilobiter, Excite, Magitech Armor. Oh, there's even more. Aeronede, Ghost, Sandray, Robite, Red Fang, Poplium, still going. Stray Cat is the best rage he can get. Alright. Should equip him with something, huh? Oh, here we go. Hades Gigas. Oh! There's a dragon up in the forest, I think. There's a forest around here that maybe has a dragon. Harvester. Yeah, he's not a character I particularly like. General. Sigma learned haste. Learn a couple more skills here. Pipsqueaks. Get a little bored of this funny jungle music, too. Yeah, I can't cross over there. Bum, 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 bum. Nor rabbit. Cute little red-eyed bunnies. Yeah, I don't like the mobile version at all. Ralph the dog. I think they were, oddly enough, the sprites were done by the original artist, but they just look really bad. I don't know what was going on with that. Is there anything you're looking forward to? Possibly not living in California. I don't know. Lots of stuff to look forward to. Kids getting bigger. New books coming out. Do you know anyone who could be called the music equivalent of Gordon Ramsay? I do not know how to... I do not know. Why don't you make Moonsong 3 available for pre-order in paperback? The answer is because I'm not allowed to. Amazon doesn't offer it. Amazon does not offer paperback pre-orders. Okay, that's why. I could try to do paperback pre-orders through something like Lulu, but it's kind of a money-losing proposition. There's no real point to doing that. But you can order the paperback now, so, and then it'll come later in the week. There he is. Woo! Oh no! Oh no! I thought I had put in an attack as he appeared. Yeah, you can't do paperback pre-orders or hardback pre-orders either through Amazon. Harvester. Got the Harvester. Sandray. Poplium. Colosite still going. There's reasons why, from Amazon's perspective. It's that indie authors will often miss pre-orders. You can have your pre-order rights revoked. In order for them to have a pre-order, they have to be printing it. I don't think I've done that guy yet, so I have played Ni no Kuni. Yeah, it's good. I have it on Switch. I think I might also have it on PS3. I don't know if the remaster really improves a lot of stuff. The Switch version is basically a direct port of the PS3 version. It's good. Yeah, it has great music. My son likes to play it a lot too. It has a good story, great art. It's a great little game. I enjoy it a lot. How many pages in your new book? 260. pages. I think it's about 72,000 words, thereabouts. Something like that. Whoa, look at these guys. Apocryphos. I don't know. I don't know what Russia sees Ukraine as. Ukraine has been part of Russian rule and not. I don't know. I don't know what the predominant political feeling is there. Someone has insight, that would be nice. PS4 version has 60 FPS and higher res. I have Ni no Kuni 2 for the PS4. I haven't played the sequel though. Too many games, not enough time. Ni no Kuni is really fun though. I'm Blanca. I'm your friend. Let's travel together. Baskerville, Harvester, Ghost, Sandray. Robite, Red Fang, Poplium, Coalescicite still going. Alright. Saw some cool ones up here. Might be fun to get. I think I'm out of time for the stream though. Ukraine was also part of Poland. Too many numbers. It's a lot more complicated there. There are many old families. Ukraine was also part of Poland. That's where I come from. It's hard to know. I heard someone say on Twitter, it's like the Russian Federation has only been a country for so many years. It's like, yeah, Russia as an entity, though, has existed for a very long time. Just because the current political arrangement is not that old because of the, collapse of communism and stuff, doesn't mean that it's only been a country for like 30 years. That's pretty much nonsense. The Ukraine narrative is Western propaganda, distraction, and also genuine warmongering to get the show going again after Trump. I'm kind of inclined to agree. I mean, I certainly don't trust the media on it. Lunaris, Black Dragon, there we go. Osprey. Do you do commissions? Commissions of what? Zimamaru. I'm not sure what you want to commission me to do. Buffalex. Very old nations. I thought the Russians were just the Rus. Including shamanists from Siberia who get in your dreams when you sleep. Nighttime in Siberia. Oh, book covers, yeah. Yeah, I can do book covers. I don't do a lot of them. I mostly do my own. But I don't really promote it. It's not like I'm out saying, well, I offer this service. And it kind of depends what you want, I also do map commissions. I mean, I'll draw people maps if they want. I've said no in the past to doing map commissions. I should probably go back on that so people can have good maps. I'm not doing the blitz correctly. Things like that. Stuff with the Rus is complicated. It's all complicated, especially if you're outside of it. If I study Scandinavian history and you study the history of the Rus, obviously. Well, that's coming from something that's focusing on Scandinavians in particular. So it's not really going to focus on the people who are native to parts of Russia. It just gives you a very incomplete picture and one that's only focused on one ethnic group. You kind of hear, oh yeah, there were Finns in there too, I guess. The last two artists I hired for book covers didn't work out. It depends what genre you're trying to work in. Let's check his rage skills. Guard, Hazer, Brawler, Whisper. Buffalex, we got him. Get these other guys. Seems like there's a lot of blank slates there, so you could probably find some like very obscure rage skills. The Rus are the Swedish Vikings, yeah. Moved in with the Slavs and declared themselves to be in charge. Then intermarried with the Slavs, started speaking their language, etc. Yeah. Oh, this guy. Osteosaur. I think I already have him, but whatever. There's a lot of them, if I remember, like would go work for the Byzantine Empire. And a lot of the Viking Age Scandinavian trade was centered around the slave trade. So you'd go capture slaves and then go send them to go sell them to the Byzantines. At least I got some revivifies here. The Yams Vikings who served the Polish king. Yeah. So what was it called? There was a particular guard in the Byzantine Empire that was made up mostly of Vikings. Made up mostly of Scandinavians, I should say. Because Viking is like an activity. You go Viking. So you get together and find a strong leader and you go raid Britain or wherever. I've also heard that like the Viking Age ended mostly because they kind of ran out of stuff to loot. You know, they kind of looted and taken over and ended up settling like Britain and Ireland and France. And, you know, they just didn't really have a lot of money to trade slaves to the Byzantines. And so they just kind of settled down and stopped doing the Viking stuff. They kind of just wound down as there wasn't that much stuff to do. I've also heard that it had a lot to do with Christianity. Once they became Christian kings up in Scandinavia, it was kind of like, well, you really shouldn't be raiding other Christian kings, you know. That's kind of not okay. And taking slaves and selling them to other Christians. The Varangian Guard, that's it. Yeah, no period sources calling it that. I think I'm out of time for the stream, though. I do appreciate the super chat from Mike. I really appreciate that. I'll probably be leaving California. Looks like what the plan's going to be. So, I don't know. When we do that, I don't know what that timeline's going to be exactly. Probably June. And then we'll, I don't know. We'll figure out what's going on from there. I wonder why the ones who did Vikings weren't just called Vikers. Sounds cool. I like Vikers. I think that sounds cool. Alright, fantasy, yes. Among other things. Save our game. Yeah, mainland Europe. I think you had the rise of like the castle system, which made it much harder to go raiding because you have really hard targets. The targets got a lot harder by the High Medieval. By say the 11th century, you had a lot better defensive mechanisms in place in Europe to protect against each other and barbarian invasions, aka Vikings and things like that. So that's probably part of it too. Write about a man who discovered that people can start speaking your language out of a sudden. How have Shadow and Smoke pre-orders been doing? Not that good, but it's okay. You know, it's fine. Had a couple pre-orders. I haven't been promoting it relentlessly. I hadn't made a bunch of videos plugging it. I've just plugged it on live stream. So I'll probably make some more videos today plugging it, and then. Then I'll have all this week. I'll run free promotions on the first two books, and I'll run some ad campaigns definitely on the first book to try to get that click through. So if you get people to read the first, maybe they buy the second, buy the third. If people buy, if I sell the first one for 99 cents, second one for $2.99, the third one for $4.99, you're making $9 or $10 there, and then you make more as they click through because they want to see more of the story. So I usually make the first book a little cheaper overall, and that tends to work for me. So anyway, so I think that's going to be it for today. That's a fun 2 hours of playing this. I might grind the skills a little bit off stream because that's boring. And next week, I'm probably going to do, starting next weekend, I'm probably going to do more streams just for a week because I'll have some other things going on. That basically my wife is going to take my kids to her sister's house for a couple days for like a little mini vacation while we get the house painted. So that'll get the kids out of everybody's hair so we can move all the huge amount of crap we have in this house and paint. This is the only room that doesn't need to be painted because it just got painted. But we're going to paint the rest of the house. It's really funny reflecting on that. There were all these things we wanted to do with the house when we first moved in here. And we didn't do any of them because they're expensive and, you just move, you want to save money. And now we're going to do all of them in order to, like, sell the house and, and move. So it's one of those things. I think for the next house we get, I'm going to try to do all of the improvement stuff right away so that it's like how you want it and then you can live in it rather than we can do lunch tomorrow. I don't send me a tell. I'll send you a tell on Twitter. We'll figure out where to go. I'm still up in Oakdale, so here we go. When was the last time you moved? 2018, not that long ago. So I sold a house that was in the city and moved kind of out to the country. I hadn't expected to move again, but basically things in California are getting so untenable. My wife and I won't be able to work in the state of California. Like, there's a bill that will basically require anybody who has a job to get vaccinated, right? To get this experimental vaccine. And I have already had the disease it's supposed to protect against. And I'm not buying jabs for my kids. I'm not doing it. I refuse to be an experimental test subject. I already have been on an experimental disease called COVID. So I don't need to do one for something that's supposed to prevent something which I already had. I'm just not doing that. That's ridiculous. And you have to think that the thing about the slippery slope is that the slippery slope stops wherever you stop it. So we haven't stopped vaccine mandates, which means there's going to be another thing right down the next line. It could be like mandatory hormones. People like scoff at mandatory hormones, but it's like, dude, you already have it where like kids can acquire HRT without their parents' consent through schooling. It's just a couple steps later to where like someone else decides that they need it. Well, little Johnny's acting up. We better give him drugs, like mandatory drugs, mandatory ADHD drugs. We're probably moving to north of Houston. Yeah. Moving out of California. Moved from California to Idaho during the lockdowns. Good job, Nordic Chief. Yeah, Corona-chan has devolved into a mild cold. I think Brian had it, and he got over it pretty quickly. My kids had it. So I don't want to vaccinate my kids against the disease. My son was sick for 1 day. He had a fever for half of a day. And he says, I loved coronavirus. I got to sit on the couch and watch movies all day, and Dad brought me ice cream. Yeah, well, Dad got sick. Dad got very sick from it. It really wasn't Corona-chan at all. It was a secondary infection from my immune system being weakened by Corona-chan that really, really put me down. I basically ended up with like pneumonia and very severe bronchitis, which wasn't COVID, and cleared up with antibiotics. But, it really was unpleasant. So I don't recommend you get it if you can avoid it. But I think it's one of those things. Everybody I know who's gotten vaccinated, not everyone I know, but like now all the people who got vaccinated are getting it. It's kind of like, so here's what Corona-chan is. Imagine that you have a bunch of people sitting down to play poker. Okay? Now, if you're playing poker, or even better, imagine people at a table playing blackjack. They're playing blackjack. Now, blackjack, supposedly there's a method that you can make money playing blackjack. But my understanding of the math there is that you have to have a really large stack of money because you're going to lose a lot of money. Sometimes you could lose 50 hands in a row. And it's an anomaly, but it happens, right? So you have to have enough money to weather when you lose money. So if you sit down to play blackjack, let's say you're playing $5 blackjack and you bring $100 to the table. Now what happens? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. When does the play stop? Well, it stops when you run out of money. So when you go bust, the casino has now kept all of your money. So even if you have, let's say the odds are 50-50, you aren't going to walk away with 50% of your money. You're going to walk away with zero. So this disease, and really, I can't think of any other way to put it, it's like sitting down to play blackjack. Eventually you go bust. I wore N95 masks, I wore gloves, I was highly subjected to this because I was doing all the shopping for like the old people in my life and doing all this kind of stuff for everyone else so that no one else was exposed. And of course it was my son who got it, not me. But, you're doing all the protections, you have the vaccines, and if you assume the vaccine presents protections, eventually it gets through. Eventually because you're sitting at the table playing, eventually you run out of money. And you get it. And once you get it, you've gone bust. So that's kind of how it is. And as soon as you go bust, another person comes in and starts playing. So eventually, everyone's going to get it, whether it's a really mild version or it's a more serious version. That's where I think we're at. Everybody's going to get it eventually, and hopefully you get it much later in the course of the disease, so it's like more devolved. Diseases tend to get more virulent and less serious because that's advantageous for the disease to continue existing, for the virus to continue existing. So hopefully that'll happen, but it's clear that all of the things that they told you to do to avoid it entirely will not help you avoid it entirely. They maybe reduce the chance that you're going to get it, but eventually, until the virus disappears, you're going to get it. Some people are probably going to get through and never have it, but most people eventually are going to go bust, regardless of what they do. That's just how I think about it. I think we're at the point where people can say, gave it my best shot, I did everything they said, and I still got it. I'm not going to do this stuff anymore. But the psychic power of where I'm at in California is that they are going to resist reality longer than anyone. California will be the last one to take the masks off. And this was a state that banned gay marriage 20 years ago. But it'll be the last one to take its mask off. It'll be the last one to drop the vaccine programs. They will fight it till the bitter end for ideological reasons. That's how I think about it. Moving may not be a long-term solution, but you can at least buy enough time to raise your kids under sane conditions. And that's kind of how I'm thinking. People think Texas as a red state, but it's very blue. And in some ways that's good because that's resistance. If you have actual resistance within your state, it tends to make you, iron sharpens iron. And if there are some hippie liberals in Texas, well, that just can make you a little bit harder to fight against them and to shore up your defenses. You can be weak. Weak sheltering can create weakness. You have to have some exposure to the other side and some threat for you to really. Texas, the almost blue state, is the one that effectively banned abortion. Think about that, guys. Same thing, California, the hippie state, was first state that I remember actively banning gay marriage. They did it 20 years ago. And they banned gay marriage. They wrote it in the Constitution. But the government, whose responsibility it is to defend its own laws, refused to litigate for the law. That's why it got overturned. It never got overturned. The law is still on the books. Right? But the law was passed. But the government refused to. The Supreme Court of the state, not the U.S. Supreme Court, overturned their own constitution which is completely illegal. And then basically said, the state's like, okay, the state government refused to defend its own laws. It refused to defend the will of the people. So you have a top-down, it's basically a dictatorship here. So we got to go. Because it's only going to get one step worse and then one step worse and one step worse until there's an active pushback and it actually stops. If one of these things is actually stopped, then you have hope, but none of them are being stopped. So it's just going to keep going down the hill. That's all. So Austin's very woke, but, you know, as woke as Austin is, if you could just make it a locality, it's still not as bad. And that does provide like some resistance, some ideological resistance for you. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's what's going on with me. Shadow and Smoke, Shadow and Smoke, book 3 in the Moon Song series. So here's number 1, City of Silver. Number 2, Tyrant's Gallow. And then, of course, you can get, here's a little picture of me and my boy when he was a baby. And, of course, you can get number 3. You can pre-order it now, and you can even order the paperback, though I'll tell you if you order the paperback today, the table of contents may have a couple of pages wrong because I need to re-upload the PDF right now. So that's what's up with that. Check it out, and I'll see you guys next time. I think I can link the whole... if you're interested in like a commission, just send me a tell on Twitter or email me, stu@davidvstewart.com or stu@dvspress.com, and we can figure it out from there and see if I can do what you want me to do. I think in some cases I may not be able to do what you want me to do, in which case I won't do that. It's kind of cool. Amazon lets you link a whole series now. So I can just like link the series and you can like see the series and go through and like buy them. Pretty cool. So that's that. All right, guys. Thanks so much. And I'll see you all next time.